Hi guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today on Chasing Florida, we're going to be going over some of our high lift jack mounting solutions to our bed rack on this truck. Now, full disclosure before we get going, I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. These were all purchased by me on Amazon. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. But for real, I purchased all of these. So these will be going back. There are 4 that we're going to review. And the 5th one is my choice, and you'll see why. But before we get started, let's roll that intro, guys, and I'll show you exactly what we're going to get into now. So today on Chasing Florida, we're going to get into reviewing what solutions you have for mounting a high lift jack to your bed rack that has, for example, a overland tent setup, or just mounting it because you want to mount one on there. I know you guys think out there that it's just, this is just Offroad Bling, and for most of you that may be true, but it's not Offroad Bling. You can help people with your high lift jack, even if you're not using it yourself. And a lot of people have reported actually doing just that. In my case, I plan to use it, so for me it's not Offroad Bling. Now, yes, there's a lot of them out there that look like it's never been used, all right? But we're not gonna get into that right now. Guys, thank you again for watching all the previous videos, and I really appreciate all the support. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, hit the bell notification button. That way you are informed when we're posting new content, and obviously like the video. Now, by the way guys, I got these all on Amazon. The links are below, all 4 of them. And then the 5th option I got from RCI, and I'll link them below as well. And let's get into it. Alright, so this is the rack on the driver's side. This is where the tent deploys over. And you can see where anything sitting up above this line would create a problem as the tent is deploying. Now guys, RCI is going to mount here. You'll see that after it's installed. I can also mount them down there and to that one. Obviously all of these have 2 mounts. My preferred installation spot is going to be here, run into that one over there. I'm going to invert these bolts, and that way I keep it up and out of the way from any of the folding components of the tent, and I could still easily unzip and zip the tent up without getting into too much trouble up there. And now you'll see it fully installed. All right, so now that you've seen the side of the truck, I'm going to explain to you why I went with the RCI solution versus these that are very well known. Some not as well known, but you get the idea. I got a couple of very well-known brands here, and some that are just knockoffs. All right. Now, do realize that this is what works for me, guys. All right. I'm not gonna say that this works for your particular setup. I'm doing things as the way I see them fit, and what's gonna work for me, it may not be what you need, but I hope you get some useful information. Now, to dive right into it, first solution that I actually chose was the high lift mount from High Lift. This is their kit that goes installed typically on the inside of a bed. So in the inside here where I have my rhino liner, I tap this, and then the jack gets placed here with a lag bolt, and then a shroud that secures it in place, and the bolt itself has a hole through it, and you can run a padlock. One of the more secure options for mounting your jack. However, as you saw on the side of this rack, there isn't a lot of area to mount this, and this has a very awkward mounting, so I can't put it in here at an angle. I'd have to bend it or cut it, and it does not line up with the slots over here. It does not line up down here. It does not line up in the back, and if it did, I can only use one of the sides to mount the screws, and that's no good for me. I want to make sure that it's very secure. I don't want a 30-pound all steel jack flopping around in the back of the truck. Not a good look, guys, trust me. So it's a no, but probably it is a very secure option, and it will probably deter theft the best. Next, the Smittybilt option. Very nice powder coat on it, super thick, about 1/4 of an inch, and it's got also if you can see here, 2 holes on both sides where you can run a padlock. The actual jack goes in here, and you can run a padlock straight through the holes on the jack itself. This is probably my first choice for mounting, aside from the RCI, because it, unlike the other ones, I can mount it here fairly easily, right? And I would have, if I would have chose to go this route, I would have mounted it right here with one of these lag bolts, and that would have been good to go. It does have 2, so not a perfect fit, but I can still make that fit here, no problem, or actually install that right here in these slots on the other side, and they would line up. So here you go. Now again, it doesn't exactly line up because this is not designed for this particular rack. This is designed to mount on typically the inside of a bed as well, just like that, on the inside of your bed, and then just placed right in there front to back. So that works great. I've also seen them on Jeeps. They use some of their points already that exist to mount these. I'm not an expert on Jeep, guys, and unfortunately that's what the majority of the market right now for these high lift jacks is kind of geared towards, right? The majority of people overlanding are on Jeeps and are on Tacos and all that. So you'll find a lot of that here. You won't find anything for like an F-250. Now it's starting to pick up. Some people are building these full-size trucks for overlanding, and yeah, it's great. Some products are becoming available for them, but just not, we're not there yet. Third option is the KSP. This is also for a Jeep, and this is made to mount right under hood, and then the jack lays flat. There's a shroud, and then there is a bolt that also has a locking solution. Not as good as, in my opinion, compared to the high lift one, but I was actually planning to use this one because this one does line up perfectly right here on this rack with this bolt and a free hole right here. So this would be my preferred option compared to the Smittybilt. So this will be my first. Smittybilt would be my second, and the high lift one would probably be my third if I had to install one of these. Now that would lay here, the other one would lay right here, and the jack would mount sideways, and it would look super cool. But there's one problem. It may have clearance issues on the other side when I'm deploying the tent, so that's why I did not go with this option. This is also nicely powder coated, very thick construction, and comes with all of the hardware, as do all the others. And here is the fourth option. This is the Zamlai hood mount as well. So this is also for Jeeps. It mounts right there in the front in the hood. You've seen them, and they go on top. You clamp down, and this holds your high jack in front. This one I picked up because in theory I thought I can hang from the back of my rack, like here, and line up with the bolts that are already secured, not have to tap any drills, and then just recess the jack in front of it and secure it. It does not have any security hardware, and guess what? This does not line up. So this was a no-go for me. I decided not to install it. It's also nicely powder coated, very nice option, and the cheapest one out of all of them. And yeah, and for pricing, that is your cheaper option. It's like not even $30. So not a bad solution for a Jeep, not what I'm looking for. And then lastly, we have the RCI one, which will mount up here or down on the side panels, keeping the jack definitely far away from the awning or the tent on the other side. Not only does it mount there, it can mount down here, and it can also mount up top. Now this is proprietary to RCI, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right now as we move to the other side of the truck, as it is already installed. Another thing for these specific mounts, remember that some of these can be mounted on the inside of your bed. Now, you're gonna say, well, why didn't you mount them on the inside of your bed, right? Like, you know, what's the deal, right? So, very, very, very important about recovery equipment. And that means, you know, your winches, your jacks, some of your tow straps, all of that stuff, your fuel that you have, like Rotopacks and all that stuff, all that Gucci stuff, all that stuff's got to go, in my opinion, on the outside of the rack or outside of your vehicle somehow, preferably. Not where it sticks out like crazy, guys, you know, because you're on the trail, you may be able to fit and, you know, kind of thread the needle, but you don't want to get them so far out that you can hit them up against a tree or a rock on the trail, whatever the case may be. But in my opinion, I like to keep them on the outside, close to the vehicle, on the rack, so if I'm ever stuck in mud or stuck in on a trail, I can get out of my truck, get outside, and physically grip this right off the side of my vehicle and get to work. If I have to get it from inside of my bed where there's a lot of stuff packed in there, I'm gonna have to start ripping things out, throwing them on the trail, and it's just gonna burn time, valuable time it could be. And I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna have to repack everything. So I'm gonna put all my Rotopacks, all my tracks, all of my recovery gear is gonna be outside of the vehicle where it's easily accessible, tied down, and hopefully some sort of anti-theft mechanism so that nobody takes your stuff. So last but not least, my actual choice for my RCI bed rack is the RCI high lift jack mounts. Now if you take a look closely, they look very similar to the ones from High Lift that were made for the inside of a pickup truck or the bed on the inner wall. But it is just single holes on the side, and they mount anywhere on the bed rack. So here, even up top if you have space, all over the side panels, and more importantly for me, the back and front of the rack, which is where I'm gonna mount it. I'm gonna mount it in the back. I'm not gonna mount it in the front, guys, because even though it looks cool hidden in there and out of the way, it also is limited access because of my awning, and the worst part is the back window. The back window has a sliding fifth window, and if that jack were to somehow smash into that, you know, by me taking it out, or God forbid it coming loose and smashing into the window, it's not a good day. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to mount it out the back, out of the way, and easily accessible from the back of the truck, which is where I want it. Before I do that, I'm going to show you, again, this is not an installation video, but this comes with several pieces of hardware. This is the wing nut, which is rather large, but that's okay, and the shroud that comes over the front of the high lift jack, where the lag bolt that is up here goes through the mount and secures it to the bed rack. The hardware to mount the bed rack is there, but I'm going to be using the ones off the back that are already there, because why not? They're already there. The additional ones I may just use around the rest of the bed rack and give it additional security and keep it all together. So I'm kind of glad that I went through this. Now you guys know that, yeah, those can be used for other bed racks if there isn't an OEM solution, such as the Spinny-Built, the actual high lift one. But it's always better to check your OEM for the bed rack and see if they actually have one like this. I didn't know about this one when I started down this path. Again, I'm new, but I'm trying to transfer all this knowledge and all the mistakes that I've made to you, and hopefully you can take away something from that. And if not, you know, hey, well, comment below and let me know what you guys think. If I totally waste my time, that's cool. So I'm not going to say it was a mistake. I didn't actually install any of them. I just checked them for fitment, and obviously I was trying to keep the high lift jack away from a certain area that I didn't want it to be, or block the operation of my ARB tent. But I learned a lot, and I found the right option for me. I hope that's what I've done for you. So I'm going to take you to the back of the truck so you can see how I mounted this up with the high lift jack. Here we are at the back of the truck, and as you can see, it is super clean, guys. I used the factory bolts to put this on from the RCI bed rack. I had to shift one bolt over to get it to go, which is perfectly fine. That's the large wing nut with the pressure nut and the shroud U fitting over it to keep it together. Same thing on the side over here by the mechanism, Now I actually have extra hardware, so I can use 2 of them to bolt the outside, and then I'm gonna put some towards the front over there. As you can see, I only have 2, so I'll use the hardware to actually reinforce the rest of the rack, which is great. So that's something that is a benefit. It came out super clean, nicely fitted towards the back. This is a 60-inch high lift. This is not that one that I'm actually going to be running. This is one on borrow that I have from the shop just for fitment. I chose to use the inner mounts on the rack itself, like I pointed out to you, versus mounting on the outside, because first of all, I would have obstructions on the left-hand side by the mechanisms, and on the right, it would be further out, pushed out closer to the awning, which is okay, but there's more support towards the center, and you know, we're just a little bit out to the left and right where it's actually ideal for me. So overall, it came out super clean, and I'm very happy with it. And that is the RCI high lift jack mounts for the RCI bed rack. All right, guys, thank you for watching. And as always, John and I will
see you in the next video.
So today on Fort...
What's that?